Hi Flosstube. So my last video was about a month ago, so I'm actually on track, which is pretty exciting. I haven't got a lot to show you today, but every stitch counts. Isn't that right? I went away for a week, so we're only talking about 3 weeks worth of stitching. So that's okay. I'm used to showing a lot of things in my videos because it's normally been ages since my last video. But anyway, so the last video I posted, I did a WIP update, and then I posted a little tutorial about how to make a cross-stitch card. So that's a finish that I had during this last approximately 4 weeks. So I'll show you a photo of that one. So that's just a 40th birthday card that I made for my friend. If you want to know the details about it, you can go and watch that video because all the details are there. And I also stitched this. So this was another small finish. A naku. Totally forgot to bring, what's it called? Stitchosaurus, I think. It was just a small kit that actually my school friend gave me a whole bunch of her cross-stitch stuff when I caught up with her recently. She just gave me everything because we both used to do cross-stitch when we were like 12. Anyway, so she gave me all her stuff that she had left over, and this was in there, and she'd actually started it. Most of the light green was done, I think. Anyway, so I saw it was already in there, started, and I thought I would stitch that for my little boy because what little boy doesn't love dinosaurs? And he loves it. He thinks it's fabulous. He hangs on his wall and he takes it off the hook and looks at it and goes, oh, carries on. He's 4.5, so you know. Anyway, so there was that. So as far as stitch from stash goes, I'm doing brilliantly because I haven't bought a thing. I haven't even bought needles. I haven't bought anything that's even on the list of things that you can buy without digging into your budget. My budget is zero. I'm spending nothing. Zero, nothing, nada. And I'm actually making money. So I had this finish, I had the card. They were very small finishes, so I counted them as $2 each. And then I had the I'll Always Love You little thing that I showed in my last video. So that was, I gave myself $5 for that. And I sold some patterns on Aussie Stash Unload, and that gave me $26. And I did purchase, I did make a purchase. The only purchase I'm really allowing myself, apart from absolute necessities, which I will allow myself, but I kind of don't want to, I spent 80 cents. Well, actually, I gave them a 10-cent tip because it was in an op shop and it was 80 cents and I had 90 cents. Anyway, it was for 2 pieces of fabric and a Paula Vaughan pattern, which I gave my mum because she really likes Paula Vaughan. So I gave her a Paula Vaughan pattern and 2 bits of even weave that I found at an op shop, which cost 90 cents. So overall, for January, I am up $34.10. Yes! So go me. That's pretty exciting. When you've got a budget of zero, that's pretty good. So, yeah, stitch from stash is awesome because all of this was in my stash. The frame was in my friend's stuff, and it must be for it, right? It was perfect. Everything for the card I finished was all in my stash. The cards, the paper, everything was already there. I didn't buy anything. And the I'll Always Love You was all from my stash. So that's pretty exciting. I'll show you my WIPs. I only worked on 2 for these last few weeks. I did have a little Mill Hill kit that I was going to take on holiday with me, and I did take it, but I didn't stitch because I didn't want to. So I just worked on my Mermaid, Teresa Winslow Mermaid. It's quite glary here. It's a little bit overcast. But you know when it's overcast and the sun's really kind of Yeah, it's a bit like that. So anyway, that should be good for lighting for this video. So my Teresa Winslow Mermaid, and I started her on the 1st of January 2016. She hasn't been stitched on all that much, but when I do stitch on her, I love it. And actually getting a fair bit done. So this is where she's at. Let's see. Where is she there? So what I worked on this month are the borders. So this border was half done, so I did that down to there, and I did that whole side of border there. So it's quite a bit of work with all the blending, but it's not confetti as such because it's a repetitive pattern. So unlike here in the middle where it's, you know, you can't really follow any kind of pattern, it's just random. At least the borders was a bit easier to stitch. Not so much concentration needed because you knew you're just following the pattern. There it is. Hopefully you can see that. Give a close up, maybe. Have I got that lined up? Yeah. Anyway, so I'm about a quarter done, I suppose. I'm probably a bit more than a quarter done now, because that's halfway. You know, that's the halfway point. So I've done the border and a quarter of the centre. So we are over a quarter of the way done. So that is good. And I did that amount of stitching was probably 2 weeks, maybe. But I haven't been stitching. Oh no, I thought that was a loose thread, but no. It's been a bit tricky stitching lately because in Australia we are experiencing a heat wave, essentially. It's been going for about a month. We've had temperatures of 45 degrees, which I believe is about 110 Fahrenheit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's well over 100 Fahrenheit. I'm pretty sure it's 111 or something. So it's been hot, really hot, and very dry where I live. So you get hot wind. It's exhausting, and you don't really want to sit under your, your hot light or whatever. Sitting under your lamp can be hot. It's just sort of not comfy. Winter is such a nicer time to stitch, I think. So I'm not stitching quite as much as I probably would when it's cooler, and it's been ridiculous heat. It's where I live, but it's pretty much everywhere in the country except Tasmania. Jan, oh, so jealous. I'm going to move to Tasmania. Be beautiful. It's the only place in Australia where it's not hot. So anyway, so that's meant not a lot of stitching, but I'm happy with that progress. That's good. And then since I got back from holiday, I picked up Gypsy again because she's fun and she's easy, and I would really love to have her done for the retreat, which is fast approaching. It's the first weekend in May, and so we only have March, April, 2.5 months. Oh, how exciting. So I would love to have her done. The retreat I'm talking about is in Katoomba in the Blue Mountains. It may or may, I believe it's all booked out, but you never know, there might be cancellations. So if you're in Australia and you want to know about it, Linen and Threads of Katoomba, Karen is who you need to speak to. Nora Corbett is going to be there. Shut up. Anyway, I've spoken about it a few times. I'll stop talking about it. No, I won't. So I'd love to get her done for that. Maybe. I reckon if I do this as a real focus piece, for sure. She's getting there. Look at her lovely dress, so colourful. So I've got the air conditioning going here, so it's blowing around a little bit. But believe me, you want the air conditioning. So I am doing all the DMC first, working through doing my Karen water lilies in that section. Once I've finished a section, I do the Karen water lilies and then I do the metallics in that section. And then I'll go back and do the beading at the end because I use a scroll frame and I don't want to, it's going to be my first major beading piece. The only beading I've done before this is essentially Mill Hill kits, small things. So I haven't done beading on my scroll frame really before. So that's going to be exciting. And I'm still not sure what colour thread I'm going to use. I don't want to use invisible thread because people complain about it, and if other people complain about it, I'm going to hate it. But because my fabric is hand dyed, it's only a very subtle hand dye, but it is, whether you can see it in this light or not, I don't know. It's almost like a slight cloud effect, sort of white and turquoise, light blue. So I'm not going to be able to match the colour of the fabric very well for my beads, so I'm probably going to try and match my beads to my floss, get the DMC closest to the bead colour. That's my thoughts. So, yeah, so I've done all that DMC there. I've done all the Karen water lilies in that section that I finished, and the metallics. I'm just going to be doing some metallics and Karen water lilies through this bit here next. And I'm doing skin 1/1. Let's have a look at that. Where is it? You got it there? Yeah. What a nightmare. The only skin 1/1 I've done before this is Celtic, which I didn't work on this month, but I'll just show you because she's got skin 1/1. So she has skin 1/1. Now you can see on this, there's not a lot of skin, right? Not a lot of skin, just her hand and her neck and face. It's not a lot. So it didn't really bother me when I was doing that because, you know, this just seems so much skin. It's kind of driving me mad because I've got to do all that skin 1/1, and I've only done her hand and her wrist over here. I'm not sure that I would do 1/1 skin again, but I'm kind of caught in a hard place because Teresa Winslow is charted 1/1. So I'm going to have to do her at 1/1. I've got to finish her at 1/1. That may be the last time I bother doing skin 1/1 because I've seen plenty of people stitch these 2/2, and it looks fabulous. They're not Mirabilias aren't charted 1/1 for some reason. You know, I don't know. I don't know why I did it. Well, I did it because it looks great. It does look great. But I'm not a patient person. I mean, have you noticed how I don't do full coverage? Like heaven and earth, have you noticed I don't do those? My one and only UFO is a BAP. I don't have the patience for that. I think they talk about whether you're a process stitcher or a product stitcher, whether you stitch for the process of stitching or whether you stitch for the end product. I think I'm a bit of both. I like the process, but I love the finished product, and I always FFO my stuff. I don't have anything at the moment which isn't FFO'd. I had one UFO because it was do you remember that one? The green tree? It was going to be about that big, full coverage, one of those Chinese kits. I got about an eighth of it done, I think, and I just went, no, can't do this anymore. It was only that big. It was on 14 count, so it wasn't, you know, we're not talking 25 count or anything crazy. It's not in me. This is full coverage, but that's only that big. So I guess that's kind of like a Hay Mini, but this is on 28 count. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that skin 1/1, while it looks great, I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know. My next Mirabilia, what I'll do probably is do just 2/2, and then I'll have a comparison. I'll be able to actually look at my Gypsy and my Celtic and my Mermaid, and I'll have, you know, have one that's with the skin 2/2, and I'll be able to really tell whether it's worth it. I guess that's the plan. Anyway, I think that's it. We're going to round this out at a 15-minute video. Yeah. That's like old school, man. Okay, that's it. We'll be back in March. What I do is I aim for the first of the month, and then eventually I get it done by about middle of the month. So let's just expect that. And then next month I might get around to it. Anyway, I'll see you when I see you. Bye.